Too sad for Harry when he practically doesn't know how a punctuation mark works, let alone reforming journalism. Today, Harry went back to court on his second and final day of giving evidence. Upon entering the witness box a little before 10:30 in the morning, Harry rolled his neck around a little bit, he took a drink of water, and he got ready for the whole ordeal ahead. He was wearing the same suit that he wore on Tuesday, and he swapped the purple tie for a silver one. But there was something else different about him as well. There was something a little more mysterious. Something about his complaints was just a little bit different this go-around. It was almost like somebody had taught him overnight to answer questions with a simple yes or no, and please just stick to the script, Harry. For instance, Harry had a much better response to the important question of when exactly he had read the newspaper articles in question. On Tuesday, over and over again, he just told the court that he couldn't remember, and yesterday he said, "I can't remember, but that is to suggest that the stress has been reduced, and it hasn't been." Soon enough, we were going over evidence about Harry's wild and crazy younger days, including an injury on his knee that delayed his entry to Sandhurst, the trips he used to take to strip clubs, his boozy playboy lifestyle, and also his relationship with his ex-girlfriend Chelsea Davy. Prince Harry was pretty vague about a lot that happened back then, but all of a sudden it seems like his memory became much better. Harry claimed that he didn't go to a London nightclub called Amica once a month. He said, "I don't believe I was there that often." And he doubted the newspaper's version of events. He said, "I don't see any quotes from the Lithuanian lap dancer who sat on my lap." But we know who Harry is at this point. I mean, give him a public platform and soon enough Harry's going to be complaining about his privacy. Although, to be fair, this is a phone hacking trial, and it's not necessarily an exercise in vengeance, right? During the cross-examination that was performed by Andrew Green KC, acting for Mirror Group newspapers, Harry said that he had decided to bring the case after he met the lawyer David Sherborne in the south of France, often known as a really nice place for sketchy people to vacation, but anyway, that's not relevant here. And Harry also reported that part of his impetus for the lawsuit was that he wanted to do something about the abuse and hate that was coming towards me and my wife in recent years. So an exercise in revenge and punishment instead of one in justice and ethics, maybe? In Harry's witness statement, he grandly described himself as somebody who wants to save journalism as a profession, and he said that he is a soldier upholding important values. I think it would be pretty depressing to learn that this warrior of morality was motivated, even just a little bit, by less than noble sentiments. He did seem a lot more focused, but anyway, soon enough, Harry started drifting away again, answering the questions that he was thinking about in his head instead of the ones that he had been asked, and taking every opportunity available to share his grievances to the judge. "Doesn't mean it is true, my lord," he would say. "I highly doubt that, my lord," he would add. Now, Mr. Green got a bit frustrated at one point. "Could I just repeat what I said yesterday? This is about me asking you questions, not you asking me questions," he said. And after another annoyingly dead-end exchange with Harry, he sighed, "So be it." And there was a discussion again about what was and what was not in the public interest. Harry was asked to define the former, and he considered it a little bit. He suggested a life-threatening injury. I'm sure there are others. Well, yeah, I'm sure there are too. Again and again, we got to hear about the unique struggles of Harry's sheltered life, a pretty miserable-sounding life constrained by suspicion and privilege. Harry is wary of everybody, and inside this whole world of distrust, he was ministered by people he described as my security, my point person, and even my police. And sometimes we do wonder who in the world was looking after this lost boy. At other times, Harry's lack of awareness is pretty shocking. Towards the end of the day, the focus switched onto a news story about Harry's breakup with his ex-girlfriend Chelsea Davy, printed with the headline, "Hooray, Harry's dumped." He said, "My lord, this was hurtful to say the least." And then he said that he found it a little bit mean that such a private moment was turned into a bit of a laugh. "You are not suggesting that they, the newspaper, were celebrating you had been dumped," said Green. "Yes, I am. For me," said Harry, touching his heart with these fluttering fingers, "as the subject or victim of this, to see that word used in this term is hurtful." Goodness gracious. I mean, it would have been nice if somebody with even just a rudimentary grasp of grammar had been available to explain to Harry the difference between hooray, Harry's dumped, and hooray, comma, Harry's dumped. I mean, how could he have completed that expensive education without understanding the basic rules of punctuation? Or expect to just save journalism if he doesn't even know how a comma works? When Harry was done giving his evidence, he took a seat in the courtroom for the rest of the day. So how did everything go? Well, that morning, Mr. Green had asked him if it was true that they brought him back early from his tour of duty in Afghanistan. He said, "I was evacuated, yes." Well, I guess we could say about the same about the time he spent in the witness box. So when I was reading accounts of the court proceedings, it sounded a lot like, again, Harry has discovered a platform to both spill more beans as well as complain about what other people have done to him. And I did find it pretty shocking that his testimony about his mother and James Hewitt seemed to confirm that they did indeed have an affair. I mean, seriously, if not for himself, wouldn't he at least be a bit embarrassed for his late mother? And why did Harry think that Chelsea Davy was so important to his complaints that he just had to refer to her what seemed like millions of times? I mean, does he not understand that his speculation or his truth is powered by more self-pity than actual events that really happened? I mean, what? Does he believe himself to be psychic? How does he think that he knows that everything that was written about him was somehow leaked or unlawfully obtained? And what's interesting too is that Harry seems to fail to understand that he says a lot about himself, including stuff about his penis and Elizabeth Arden cream, ew, that nobody wants to know, and that he doesn't need other people to say things about him. He does a great job all by himself. He just kept repeating Chelsea Davy's name, though, because I think that he is still deeply in love with her, and I think it creates a much better storyline by trying to evoke pity for him. Oh, poor me, I had this amazing woman, and look at what you did to our relationship. I'm guessing Meghan also encouraged it so it can create storylines about jealousy, and I don't think Harry really loves anybody except for himself. Just look at what he did to his grandparents. He's unable to feel. I've got a sneaking suspicion that Harry is wanting a journalist to testify that they received their information directly from a member of his family. He's not going to care so much about the journalist if they drop his family into the mess. Tom Bower said that the court wouldn't go against the royal family, but if he walks away from this with a win, and the royal family is still going to take a loss because he's just going to spout more and more garbage. And if Harry wins because nobody wants to upset the royals or go against them, well, then they better get ready, because Harry is going to unleash such hateful, spiteful garbage on his family, on the media, and basically anyone who dares to disagree with him. I just hope that this court does not give in to him. Harry sure doesn't act like a royal, so he doesn't deserve to be treated like one.